All right, shalom, shalom. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Halayim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Recha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopefully elect. All right, want to play this video, do a quick response.
In the UK, you're from India, so I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American
you have
citizen.
your own states.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen? Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely. But here's the
Not sure how you got that.
born here.
Okay.
Born here, in my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the plant here, okay?
But you're
a little different.
But you're a descendant of immigrants. Settlers.
No.
Colonialists.
Yeah,
You don't
colonials.
look
Yeah.
very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites
not.
are Native Americans. What are you
Sorry.
talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about?
You're not.
Whites are Native Americans.
Really?
I think
What was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
I don't mind going on a tangent, but what was happening before the
Calm
1500s?
down. I think you're getting.
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here
Do
from
you know what
Asia.
indigenous means?
Listen, I don't know where you're at in the UK. So
See? Thought this was very interesting. You know, the pride on that Edomite's face. Let's see. And whether or not, because we understand that the Northern Kingdom migrated here, as it tells us in the Apocrypha that they went to dwell in a land that never mankind dwelt. I believe that's what it says. Second Ezra 13-41. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, right? So the Northern Kingdom, the Israelites, which is well depicted through different books and things, that there were Hebrew interpreters needed to speak to the Native Americans, all right, and everything like that, that they are Hebrew Israelites, all right, the part of the lost tribes of the children of Israel, Salakia. All right, but just want to kind of go into that, you know, and I'll probably replay it here, just kind of give you, just in case you missed it.
I don't know where you're at in the UK. You're from India, so I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American
you have
citizen.
your own states.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen? Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely. But here's the
Not sure how you got that.
born here.
Okay.
Born.
You see the look on his face when he said you were not sure how you got that citizenship. Esau moves to a place, and he looked like a straight Edomite. Moves to a place and thinks he has rights because he's, you know, oh, this is my land. You know, Esau acts as though it's always been his land when he inhabits a land, which, you know, a lot of their lands, you know, as the scriptures say, they shall inhabit the fatness of the earth by the force of the sword.
Here in my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s.
You know, settlers. You know, in the 1500s.
So I have some stake in the plant here, okay?
But you're
a little different.
But you're a descendant of immigrants. Settlers.
No.
Colonialists.
Yeah. Immigrants, settlers, colonialists.
Yeah,
You
colonials.
don't look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites
not.
are Native American.
You're not a native to anywhere that you moved in where someone else was living and took over.
What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about?
And Esau loved to hear shit like this. Look at him. Look at the Edomites clapping.
Whites are Native Americans.
Really?
Woo!
What was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
I don't mind going on a tangent, but
think
what was
you're
happening
getting-
before
no,
the
no, calm
1500s?
down. I think you're getting.
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from
Yeah.
Asia.
Indigenous means.
Listen, I don't know where you're at.
There you go. Which indigenous, according to the definition we saw, means they didn't migrate, which there was a migration of the Hebrew Israelites, the Northern Kingdom, so you understand. To the Americas, okay. So anyway, I just want to get a few precepts because this is just one way that shameful spewing is upon Esau's glory. Habakkuk 2:16 says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." All right, and there's more in here, but nevertheless, Esau, Edom, the so-called, as it says. Let's get another one. I have made Esau bare. There's this narrative that happens in the scriptures, okay, of Babylon the Great being made bare. All right. And Esau also shall be made bare, which are one and the same. Jeremiah 49:10 says, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So we just kind of read, in Habakkuk where it said, let thy foreskin be uncovered. And it says here, Esau will be made bare. Let's see. Salah. A daughter who ought to be destroyed. See if I can get that in the Psalms 137 says, and we're going to prove it. Psalms 137:7. Remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. You see? So let's continue. It says, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. See? Edom and the daughter of Babylon go hand in hand. Okay? Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. So, when this thing comes out about, let the foreskin be uncovered, and I've made Esau bare, and remember, O Lord, the children of Edom. And then it refers to Esau as the daughter of Babylon, where there's also talkings of, Babylon being destroyed and everything like that, being no more tender and delicate. Isaiah 41. Yeah. And 7 says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. We heard that already before, right? And this is being correlated with Edom. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. So now another representation of Esau is being made here as being the daughter of the Chaldeans, which is spoke of in Habakkuk chapter 1. Okay, where you get the reputation of the Chaldeans, which Esau fits that perfectly. It says, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. And what do we read? Shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. Esau's being revealed for the wickedness that he's done, okay? That he's so proud in doing. He's so proud in committing these things that he thinks that he's justified, okay? Yeah. Over. I don't know if I'm saying this right. When I think I know another quote. I'm gonna say when Ezekiel 35 and 2, son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesied against it. Let's get this. This Mount Seir is Esau. Genesis 36:8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. You see? So when we go back and we read, set thy face against Mount Seir, set thy face against Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. Where else does it say this? Because people like to try to act like we just be cherry picking and joining random shit together. But the thing is that these things correlate with each other. Wherein has thou the I feel like I was already possibly here. Yeah, Malachi 1 and 2. I have loved you, yet ye say, wherein I have loved you, saith Yahweh, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness, which is soon to come. That's the judgment of America, Babylon the Great. We see it right here. I will Ezekiel 35:3. I will stretch out my hand against thee. I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. So we just read that again here. And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. So we understand this Mount Seir is referring to Esau, okay? Based off of what all we read. So let's continue. It says, verse 5 back in Ezekiel 35, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. You see? So you just kept on going. You see? Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Okay? Esau, the so-called white man. So the Lord's going to destroy you. Let's get back into this pride. You know, he's guessing. He's guessing where someone's from. He's quick to call this dude an Indian, which he looks like he could be. He kind of reminds me of Caesar Malone a little bit, I think. You know, Caesar has more clear Northern Kingdom features. All right. But they kind of favor a little bit. You know? They kind of got, I'm trying to get a full-on picture of dude. They don't show him until later. So, you know, it's a little bit of a long shot, but they got some similarities. You know, but anyway, nevertheless, you know, Esau is proud about that, though. Esau quick to judge where you from. See, I was born here. Born here. My family lineage is of settlers from the 1500s, so I got some stake. Oh, yeah, you mean from when they came and they took over the lands that didn't belong unto them, which I said, you know, was depicted in Habakkuk 1. You know, you read it yourself when it talks about the Chaldeans to possess the dwelling places that are not there. So we keep going. All right, let's read some more scriptures. Micah 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. All right, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. You see? Verse 4 says, in that day shall one take up a parable against you and lament with a doleful lamentation and say, we be utterly spoiled. He have changed a portion of my people. How hath he removed it from me? Turning away, he have divided our fields. You see? That's what Esau, the so-called white man, does. He's known as a colonizer, a gentrifier. He'll come to your land. He'll take over it, you know, and then he'll push you out financially. Nowadays, back then they had other ways of getting you out of the land. Okay. 2 Thessalonians 2 and let's see. Verse 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time, which is now. Right? And the verse 7 says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now know will let until he be taken out of the way. So even back then, during the times this was written, you had Edomites posing and pretending to be nations that they were not. Okay? You had a Edomite named Herod, okay, which became ruler over the Roman annexed Israelites, okay, land of Israel, whose mother was a Jewess, but his father was an Edomite. So he had Edomite features. All right, but he was allowed to rule over the Jews, man, because he was playing himself off to be a Jew. Oh, Salat. Gotta be careful how we say certain words for the algorithm. Let's move on. Isaiah 25:7 says, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. The Esau had pulled the wool over your eyes. He put the sheet over your head. All right. So you can't see the truth. Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So if it ain't Esau pretending to be the righteous people of God, then where and who is it on such a mass scale? You can't tell me, because here in America, Babylon the Great, you had the biggest group of Edomites. They go to church week in and week out, but they hate you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, with a passion, because they're not our people. All right, and generally speaking, and this spiritually, but generally speaking, when I say that, because some people will look like the other nations, but their descendants go back to the Israelites. So don't write everybody off. You gotta try their spirit, by the spirit, which is the scriptures, and determine whether or not these people are meet for repentance. All right. So with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Bashim Shai Bashim Rakahakadash, double honesty, apostle, elder, great millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutation to the hopefully elect. Shalom.